Hey everyone, Scott Meyers here with this week's self-storage quick tip. Well, you know, most of the folks in the self-storage industry have seen and or heard on the blogosphere and the forums a number of articles out there about, well, the war on the aggregators right now, which is being waged by one self-storage operator down in Texas. And so it's caused quite a bit of hubbub, if you will. And so I've kind of been sitting back on the sidelines talking with an awful lot of folks that I know in the industry. Obviously, I'm a self-storage owner. I've used the aggregators. We teach people about other ways to generate traffic. And so with an unbiased opinion we're going to talk a little bit about the aggregators and a little bit about my take on what's going on. So what's at the heart of all this? Well, there was an article that was produced called Dancing with the Devil. And it was a white paper that was put out by Randy Smith, Director of Operations at Another Closet Self-Storage. And he talks about the claims of how they're hurting our industry and talks about how aggregators have hurt other industries as well. So, pretty interesting, about an 18-page white paper on it. But first of all, let me kind of back up and get you up to speed so that for some of you who may not know what an aggregator is, basically they're websites that advertise multiple facilities in a given trade area. We'll talk about who they are in just a second. They charge a fee to operators to list their own websites within this big roll-up aggregated website, and then they use a portion of the proceeds that the facility owners like ourselves pay to them, and then they pay to generate traffic to that site so that they can leapfrog the big guys. So here's the problem. The aggregators take traffic away from you on the same page on Google. So if somebody is looking for a storage unit, you know, they're going to see a couple of the paid ads up top from the big guys, you know who they are. And then below that are going to be some of the aggregators, and they're never going to see you. Sometimes they may never see you, so they're going to click on some either the paid advertisers or some of these aggregators up here, and then when they go there looking for storage in Springfield, anywhere USA, for Crawfordsville, anywhere USA, guess what? They're going to see all your competition, and then they're going to do some price shopping, and they may not end up getting to you and or your facility, and they certainly won't see you down here on the page anymore. And if they do, you pay them a commission for the leads or for rentals that they generate. But you're paying them for these leads, and you're also paying them for traffic. And so we're funding their search engine optimization so that they can rank higher than our own sites. So, you know, we run the risk of brand erosion because, you know, what happens is we've commoditized our industry. You know, let's face it, self-storage in a lot of instances, it is a commodity. It's not like it's some place where somebody's going to live. A lot of times folks are just looking for a unit at a self-storage facility that looks to be clean, secure, and is close to their house. And they're going to compare prices because that's, you know, it's mostly what they're looking for, especially in these days during a recession. But the problem is that there's brand erosion because there's no incentive for the Class A facility to continue to compete and charge higher prices than the Class C. And so we're seeing this brand erosion of the brands and also a leveling off of the playing field via the prices because of what is happening due to the aggregate comparison shopping that is going on these sites. Storage is not a commodity. A couple of points that I want you to take away from this little video here is that storage is not a commodity, and it is not all the same. We all know that are in the industry, from management to your facility itself. That includes security, your appearance, billing practices. I mean, you name it, across the board. We all know that everybody operates their facility a little bit differently. Some better than others. And so if we're turning this into a commodity, if we continue to grade on a curve, the consumer doesn't benefit, and we as an industry certainly do not benefit. That's why Southwest Airlines refuses to use aggregators. You know, they're saying the argument that they're using is, you know what, we're not going to commoditize ourselves, and we're not going to get into that playing field. You know what, we have a brand that is worthy of fighting for and not getting lumped in with everybody else, and we're going to be unique, and we're going to stay that way. And you want to book your flight through us, then you go to our site. And speaking for somebody who uses Southwest an awful lot, I do that. But here's another problem. Words like cheap and discount and or generally misconstruing your marketing message. So this is, you know, when you look at what the site says, you don't really have any control over that. Now, your site may be listed in the aggregator site, and that way that person can go and look and find out more about you and your company and your facility. But the overall site itself is, hey, you know, cheapest place to find self-storage. You know, the internet's cheapest. You know, do all the comparison here. Steep discounts. Then it tells people that that's all they're looking for is cheap and discounted storage. There's no way to be able to differentiate yourself. It erodes the brand, and it misconstrues your marketing message, especially if you're not trying to be the low-cost provider, which I don't ever recommend you try to do at your facility. All right, so who are they? Again, for those of you new to the industry, new to some of my videos, the rest of us in the industry, we're all familiar with Sparefoot, US Storage Search, upickstorage.com, selfstoragefinders.com. Whoops, let me get back there in just a second here. There's others that are cropping up all the time. These are the main 4 that are out there and pretty active in the marketplace right now. Okay, so here's the potential long-term damage that can result from this. If they become the go-to destinations, they have won the game, and we're captive. If they are the go-to destination, then we've lost all control at this point, and then they can continue to raise prices for what they charge to be on there, and then there's really no control over what they can do. The hotel industries are suffering right now as a result of this because nobody goes directly to a hotel to look any longer. They're always going to the industry aggregators right now, and they have lost all control, and they have lost all ability to price their properties and their rooms the way they would like to. Airlines are now suffering as a result of aggregators, and the retailers are now seeing that as well because of what Amazon is doing. And the aggregators they profess to be advocates for the consumer, but at the end of the day, they're really just driving traffic for themselves and generating profits for themselves. They're not necessarily advocates. They do provide a service, but at the expense of the rest of the industries who they're supposed to help as well. The real estate agents, as we talked about before, they are suffering as well. And it's all as a result of taking the easy road. So how does that pertain to us in the storage industry? If we want to lease up our facility after building a new building, or just during the tough times, or as just part of our marketing message to get a few more rentals here and there for the cost, I think we're really shooting ourselves in the foot and not taking the long-term approach to what this is doing and eroding our profits and our brand down the road by taking the easy road right now by filling up a few units. It's the same reason why in our college towns that we own facilities in, we really kind of stop at a certain point of renting to college students. Not that there's anything wrong with them, and not that there's anything wrong with that. They're not a protected class, there's no discrimination, but college students, they only rent for 3 or 4 months during the summer, and then when they come back in the fall, they take all their stuff out. So if you make a business practice of incentivizing your managers to fill up your facility with college students, well, guess what? You're going to have all those vacancies heading into winter in the toughest part, at least where we operate, the toughest part of the year to rent up units. And so we're kind of peeling back on taking the easy road just to get occupancy up for occupancy's sake and looking a little further down and at the bigger picture. Okay, so what can the self-storage industry do to combat this, if you will? Well, you can boycott. And Scott Meyers is not saying that everybody needs to go out there and boycott. This is what some of the call to arms that is being placed out there in the industry by some of the folks, including the author of the white paper. You can spend money on driving traffic to your own site. I'm not saying you should boycott the aggregators. I'm saying you need to educate yourself, and you need to start spending more money on generating traffic to your own site. You will be better off in the long run by learning about SEO, SEM, pay-per-click, banner ads. If you don't know what any of those stand for, if you don't have anything in place in your website, then hire somebody. You can certainly do that inexpensively here in the United States or internationally to begin getting together an internet program that also includes social media to drive your own traffic to your own website so that you don't have to rely on the aggregators. And that all means educating yourself on how to do so. Hire a company, as I just mentioned, social media, PPC to drive traffic. Those are the things that you need to do. If you don't know how to do that right now, I wouldn't rely on just the aggregators to do that. I would hire somebody in-house to do that for you. Stop funding your competitors. Your competitors are now the folks that are on the aggregator sites. And so if you want to stop that, and if you want to begin building traffic to your own site and doing it on your own, it's time to stop taking the easy road and teach yourself how to do it and go out and do it yourself. Okay, if you want to learn more, sorry I talk awfully fast, but I had a lot of information to get over before everybody stopped watching the video. If you want to find out more, head on over to selfstorageinvesting.com. We've got our own white papers. We've got expanded videos, not only on this topic, but others as well. So give your name and email address. We've got a free download for you. It's a kit to get you up to speed on self-storage investing, and then we also have a number of other webinars that we'll make you aware of as well. So head on over there, give us your name and email address, and we'll start giving you free information and more information for you as well. If you want a copy of this white paper, you can't find it yourself, send me an email. Scott@selfstorageinvesting.com. Scott@selfstorageinvesting.com. I'll send it over to you. So with that, this has been Scott Meyers. Head on over to selfstorageinvesting.com. Email me with the other questions, and I look forward to spending more time with you on our next video or our next webinar.